Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm here to share with you a very simple shelter that we can put up in a survival situation. On the ground here I have, and in my hand, I have the components that you'll need, and these are bare minimums. In my hand I have about 60 feet of paracord. I have a standard 8-foot by 10-foot tarp. I have a hammer, 4 tent stakes that I make, and what I do with these is I take those 12-inch nails from a hardware store and I weld climbing hangers on them. And I have 4 small pieces of paracord, maybe 2 feet long. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take my rope and throw it towards the tree that I'm going to be working on. On this end, about waist high, okay, I'm going to run around a tree. Once I get around the tree, I'm going to use a new knot that I've been using, and this knot is a bowline, but it's a quick release version. So I'm going to twist the rope on top of itself. The working end over here in my left hand is going to make a loop. We're going to come up through the hole, down, and this back side, normally a bowline you would go in the hole, but I'm going to make both, like I'm going to make a bite in the rope, and that's going to go through the hole. I'm going to pull everything together, and this is a bowline that is quick release. So you just pull it, it kind of falls apart. Okay, so one more time, I'll do it a little faster since you got to see it. I'm going to be here, in, out, around, and both this bite goes through the hole. That is my quick release bowline. From here, again, I want to be about waist high. I'm going to run all this cordage that I have through this hole. I'm looking at it as it goes by to make sure that there's nothing that's really going to snag or anything. Okay? So now I'm going to come to this other tree, and I'm going to touch the tree. When I get to the tree, I'm just going to pull it fairly tight. You know, I'm not going to pull it like gorilla tight, but I'm going to come back about 3 feet from the tree, and I'm going to do a small slip knot. So I'm going to make a bite. You see this? The one that's here is going to go through. It's going to make a nice little slip knot. See that? So I'm just going to kind of pull this to tighten it. See, that's a slip knot. When I pull it, whoops, if it doesn't coil up like that, when I pull it, watch what happens to this knot. See? It disappears. So again, I touch the tree, come back about 2-3 feet, doesn't really matter. Put in my slip knot, and I like using a large slip knot. I like to have, you know, a pretty good size one, because sometimes they'll shrink as you're working on your stuff. So I'm going to come around the tree. Again, I'm about waist high with my ridge line. This doesn't fit, right? Well, let's pull it. See, as my slip knot gets smaller, it'll start giving me a little more rope. Eventually I'm going to fit. Now I pull back. Okay, this is what we refer to as a trucker's hitch. I pull it nice and tight. Then I lay it over. I lay both of these over, and I reach through, only pulling a bite through. I don't pull the whole thing through. And now I'm going to jerk back towards that as I let go. That creates a slip knot here. And what that does is that'll make it a quick release option for me. See, I just pull, boom, see it just released. So one more time, pull it back, bite this so that it doesn't get slipping like it just did. Bite it real good. Make you a nice little loop and pull only a bite through, not the whole thing. Don't pull the tail through. When you get it here, jerk it as you release with this hand. There you go. If you want to back that up, take a small stick, put it through here, and pull this slip knot. That'll keep it from slipping out on you and undoing itself. If you have any excess rope, you can kind of tag it around there just to put it away. And that, my friends, is the ridge line. Now let's go get that tarp. This tarp, again, is a standard 6 foot by 8 foot tarp. I'm going to stretch it out lengthwise. So there the tarp is lengthwise. I'm going to put half of it over the ridge line. Just like so. And on each end, I want to make sure that I have the same amount of tarp hanging down on each side. See, like right here, one's longer than the other. There we go. Now, what I need to do at this point is I need to determine where do I want my shelter to be. I'm going to go up this way just a little bit, about to there. From here, I'm going to get my first 2 anchors and my second 2 anchors. And I'm going to get my 4 pieces of cord, put those around my neck, and my hammer. I'm going to take one of my tent stakes and one end of the tarp. And I'm just going to kind of guess about where this stake needs to go. I'm going to start pounding this one down. These are excellent tent stakes. They work really good. So, let's go ahead and use this orange one first. I'm going to tie a bowline around this loop. The wind's blowing, but that's okay. Let me get going again. Tie a bowline. So I've got my bite there. I'm going to go through this loop, in the hole, around the tree, and back in the hole. There's my bowline. And for now, we're just going to tie it with an overhand knot for now. We're not going to get too crazy right now. We'll come back to this one in a minute. Let's go to the other side with the stake and my hammer and one piece of string. Now this side is the side that matters, okay? I want to put a little bit of spring in this tarp, so I'm going to put it about right here. Same thing is going to be a small bowline. Going to put a bowline through the grommet just like I did on that one. The reason I like the bowline is because this knot, if you put a lot of tension under this knot, it'll release very easily, whereas some of the other knots, they won't do that. Now from here, I'm going to reach under here. This one is really important. I'm going to find the tag, the tail end of the working end, I guess you would call it, and I'm going to make a taut line. So I'm going to come here, pulling it a little bit tight, and you see how I lay the rope on top of itself? I go one wrap, I go a second wrap. Once I get the second wrap, I come over, holding it there, come around the bottom and back in the hole. Okay, that's the taut line. Now we'll loosen that for right now. We'll leave it kind of loose and come back to this side. Now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to make a taut line. Same exact thing. So one more time, I come through, get it a little bit snug. I make a 90-degree bend, go over the top, under, inside the loop twice. Now I go over, underneath everything, and back out the hole. At this point, this is like a prusik, and we can tighten our tarps. Okay, so I pull, see that? It takes out the slack. That's my taut line. In the very end of the taut line, I put a simple overhand knot, and that's just something for me to get a hold of when I'm pulling these taut lines. Now, let's go to the other side. We got 2 more pieces of cordage, 2 more stakes. We'll do this other side now. Same thing. Throw one of my stakes over there, one of my pieces of cordage over there. Let's come over here. So again, we're going to kind of measure. We're going to get a guesstimate. I'm going to go a little bit out here. Kind of a little bit of an angle. I'll explain why I'm doing this angle here in a second. Let's get our bowline. So the story for the bowline was this little knot in the end of the rope here, that's a rabbit. This little hole that I'm touching with my thumb, that was the rabbit's hole. The rabbit comes out of the hole. This is a log. He goes around the log, underneath the log, and goes back in his hole. That was the little story behind the bowline. Very good knot. Now, we're going to go back over here with the taut line. So we come in, out, come back. Remember, we're going making a 90 degree. 1, 2, go over everything, underneath everything, and back in the hole. Loosen it a little bit because we might tighten it on both ends here in a minute. Now this is the important corner right here. I want to try to pull this thing. This thing is like an arrow pointing diagonal towards me, and that's what I want with this tarp. So I'm going to go about right here. Put my stake right here. I always angle my stakes towards whatever's pulling against them. Excuse me, let me do that again. I angled them away from what's pulling against them. Sorry. So there's my anchor point. Let's get our bowline again. Here comes our rabbit coming out of the hole. It's coming out of the hole, runs around the log. I do my bowlines a little bit different. I like my tail to be on the outside. It's the same knot though. There it is. Now let's find our anchor point. Right here. Bunch of pine needles and stuff. I'm gonna pull, get that thing through. We're gonna make our taut line. This one we're gonna snug up a little bit. I'm gonna pull this tarp a little bit, snug this a little. This is my taut line. I'm over everything, under it once, under it twice. The working end goes over, under everything, and then this tail goes through the hole. See that? Tighten it up, dress this knot real good, and it'll hold really well. Now I'm going to tighten my tarp. Again, you can put an overhand knot in the end of your taut line. This will just keep it from slipping. And that right there is a very simple shelter. Now I need to tighten this one. You can see. You see like there's a little bit of flappiness right here. I think I need to angle it that way a little more. So I'm glad that I had the taut line loose, because I can pull this out and readjust it very quickly. Kind of go here. See, it just takes a quick look, and then I can tell very briefly what I need to do. Put an overhand knot here. Now let's tighten this taut line. This one is the same thing. We're going to just tighten it up, and it'll hold that tarp nice and tight. Now if you come from either side, maybe if you run around to that side and look inside, you'll see my shelter. This is my shelter. It's plenty of cover. You can have a small fire at either end. If there's rain, it'll put the rain off of you, and it's perfect for one person. I want to say thanks everybody for watching my video today. Please feel free to like this video, share this video, thumbs up. If you like my channel, feel free to subscribe, and have a beautiful day. Now, I'm going to ask that cameraman to hand me the camera so I can show you the inside view. Thank you. Let's take a look. This is what it looks like inside of our shelter. Check that out. Now, one quick rule of thumb, whenever you're sleeping under something like this, make sure that when you sleep that your feet are at the downhill slope. If you're on any kind of incline, put your feet on the downhill side. If you do the opposite and you have your head going downhill, you will wake up with a bad headache. So anyway, thanks for watching everybody. Have a beautiful day. Look, the world's upside down. Bye-bye everybody.